Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow.
This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex. Presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial!
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Okay, everybody, welcome on in. It's JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Curie, Jeremiah Jensen, the JJ portion of the program, is taking some time off. See, here's our new world. We used to have a time to take some time off. Now, today is NBA free agency, NHL free agency. We just got done with the NBA draft. We just added the NHL draft to our repertoire now. We just went through 6.5 hours of a live radio program on Friday of a massive education for this Utah Hockey Club and understanding how this draft is versus the NBA draft, the NFL draft. We've done all those before, Matt. Matt Baiamonte filling in for JJ, by the way. Thanks for hanging out, Matt. I appreciate it, man.
It's been a blast.
We're trying to get to know this hockey world. One of the people who's been helping us along the way through all this. He covers the Utah Hockey Club for the Hockey News. Spencer Lazary. Thanks for coming on again with us, Spencer.
Hey, thanks for having me.
By the way, our program brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar perfect for anybody who needs a quick, tasty, nutritious boost. We just had our first NHL draft under our belt here, Spencer, and it was fascinating to learn how everything worked, to watch Bill Armstrong do. What doesn't change from league to league is the GMs lying about what their needs are and then actually going a totally different direction when it happens.
Yep.
Were you shocked to see the talk of all the defensemen that they were, the idea of, we got to bolster this defense over the years. We got to get this thing going and then just go flat out not draft in the 2 first-rounders that they picked, no defensemen?
Yeah, I thought for sure that they're going to choose Sam Dickinson out of London. Obviously San Jose got him. He definitely has the potential to be a top pairing guy in the NHL. And but then when you listen to what Bill Armstrong said after, like Iginla and Beaudoin, so much offensive upside, especially in Iginla. Like he was going to drop down. Calgary was like 3 picks after. I believe Ottawa was interested in him. Like they just couldn't pass up on the offensive upside that he has. So it kind of made me think like, okay, what's this team doing? And then obviously the second day of the draft, they got Sergachev, they got Marino. And, it seems like they kind of had a plan on what they're going to do once they chose Iginla and then Beaudoin with the 24th pick.
What kind of player are they getting in their second first-round selection, Cole Beaudoin?
Yeah, so I watched him a lot in Barrie. I went to almost all the Barrie home games there. He's a dynamic player. He has a unique ability when he takes faceoffs that I think he might. I don't know if he's 100% ambidextrous or not, but usually when you're lining up and your dominant hand's left, the other person's going to go left or right, whatever hand they are. Well, if he's facing a lefty, he'll switch his stick around. So he's going righty to win the faceoff. I didn't see him lose a lot of faceoffs. He's got a unique faceoff ability that seems to work. But he kind of reminds me a little bit of a John Tavares. He's not too quick on his feet, but he's got high hockey sense, strong on the puck, great tipper in front of the net, big body for his age at least. I think that he could definitely be. It's tough with Utah because they have so many prospects. Like they've got the Doans and the whomever else in their systems. But if you add Beaudoin, I think he might be a third center, depending on who else they have at the time that he's ready. Over the course of his career, I think he'll end up being a second line center for Utah. They just have so many, especially now that they're going to be adding going forward. By the time he's ready in maybe a year or two, I think that he'll end up being like a Matthew Nyes is with Toronto, where he might get a chance at the top line, but then eventually he's going to find his spot in the middle 6 there.
Let's chat a little bit about some of these names that were added as well. We just got off the phone last hour with Sean Dursey, who is a re-signing for them on the defensive line, on that blue line for this hockey club. But talk a little bit about Sergachev and Marino, who they also signed over the weekend, obviously, or traded to get these names and what they're getting with that, and how strong did this Utah Hockey Club defense get over the weekend?
Yeah, so starting with Marino, he to me when they traded for Sergachev and then they traded for Marino, I didn't think that was going to be a number one pair going forward. Obviously, they hadn't signed Sean Durzi yet. I think Sean Durzi will pair up with Sergachev, which kind of is a unique. They're both mobile. They're both two-way guys. Not one of them isn't more offensive or more defensive. I think Sean Durzi, you'll see, will end up taking that more of a defensive style because Sergachev might be more like skilled wise offensively. I think Durzi will take the more of the checking, more of the blocking shots, maybe have a little bit more power play or penalty kill time. But when you look at Marino, I think he might just be Durzi light in terms of like he'll probably end up being another penalty killer. He likely won't see a lot of power play time. He'll probably have a lot of defensive zone starts. He's going to check. Unfortunately, he was in a situation with New Jersey where he did pretty well, but they ended up upgrading a lot. So he's probably gonna. The way I have it right now written down, I got Sergachev, Durzi, and Valimaki and Moreno, and then Ian Cole, their latest addition, is going to definitely be that stabilizing force on the back end. He's going to bolster the blue line. He's going to block shots. He's going to get in passing lanes. He's going to put his body on the line. And then there's Kesselring, which to me doesn't really seem to fit. So I'd like to throw a name at you guys and see what you guys think. How would you feel about Utah spending a little bit of money and getting maybe a potential Tyson Barrie as the right shot defenseman and to add to Jersey and Marino?
Well, so this is the part where we are like drinking from a fire hose here because in my mind, I'm going, okay, the defense is getting bolstered here. You got a lot more names being added, and then you kind of go, all right, so what's the value then? Do you want to add more of that, or do they go the direction of trying to find, more goal scorers?
I mean, I think when I looked last, I think they've got $12 or $13 million in cap space. So technically, I mean, all they have to do is sign Barrett Hayton. So they technically could get both. Like they could address both. Right now, they've got 6 defense and they've got 12 forwards, including Barrett Hayton. They'd obviously again have to sign him. So I think there's some names like Tyson Barrie is one that jumps on the page. He's another penalty kill or power play guy and could definitely fit in there with like not that you guys don't have a big media presence, but when he played in Toronto, he played in Edmonton. It was just so loud for him. Some forwards I like is Yamamoto. Matthias Janmark just had a great playoff with Edmonton, and Sammy Blaze just as like basically middle six, bottom six guys. Like right now, looking just at their cap projection, yeah, they have roughly $15 million in cap space. So they could technically go on and get both. Right now, they've got 19 guys listed on their NHL team. Obviously, you're allowed to have 23. They don't need to worry about a goalie. So I think that they could get a skater and they could get a defenseman. It just depends on what area they want to work in the forwards. They could go Henrique, they could go Tarasenko, they could go Dylan Sprong, or they could go into the next tier and get those Matthias Janmarks and Yamamotos.
We don't have the full picture yet, as you just broke down with that extra cap space remaining. But based off the moves they've made as of this exact moment, how much has the needle moved for them in terms of their potential?
Well, I mean, the way I see it is last year they got the 6th overall pick. Maybe didn't finish 6th last in the league, but they got the 6th overall pick. I'd say that they're probably going to be somewhere in the 12 to 18, 12 to 20 range next year in the first round of the draft, which is kind of what you want. They might not make the playoffs. They might be contenders. I personally want to see them make the playoffs because I think it would be cool to have Utah kind of like, well, Seattle was kind of bad in their first year, but then the second year they kind of they boosted up. They were in the playoffs. Like you think you want that with Utah to sell tickets, get people engaged, get the fans engaged in Utah. I think it moves the needle a lot, even with Kevin Stenlund, like him and Alex Kerfoot he's like an Alex Kerfoot light in meaning like, he's going to play penalty kill. He might get a little bit of power play time, but he's going to do the hard things right that players don't necessarily want to do. He's going to battle into the boards. He's going to basically log big minutes for his coach. And I mean, if you have those guys on your team and everyone kind of plays their part, I think they could potentially be maybe battling for a wild card, playing meaningful games in March and April. And I mean, it's all quarterbacked by Liam O'Brien, it seems, because that guy just is already a fan favorite. So,
Yeah, it's interesting because he's been making the media rounds, and then there's the part two where you're going, all right, well, what's Coach Torney going to do? What's Bill Armstrong going to do the rest of the way out here? What in terms of like the fan base understanding too? Like, I mean, they're in the fourth or fifth year of a rebuild. I mean, they've said, hey, look, we're still trying to build this thing up here. So what does it take then? Because obviously you don't want to look at the Golden Knights as like that's what happens when new teams come into the league. That's not, maybe in an expansion draft there might be some differences obviously there too with how this team was assembled obviously versus that. But what's a reality for this team in terms of being like an actual not just playoff contender, but a Stanley Cup contender? Is that a 5 to 8 year process even from here, or how does that work? And like, what are the windows like in the NHL? We talk about windows in the NBA and even in college football and in the NFL. So what's a window look like? When does that open for Utah? How long does it typically stay open for a franchise?
Well, I mean, I think some of you listeners might know, obviously I'm a Leafs fan. I'm from close to Toronto. Looking at Toronto's window, Austin Matthews is the window. So as long as they had him, so they had him for the 3 years plus the 5. So then you basically scrap the entry level contract at that point. You're thinking about the 5 years. They didn't win in that 5 years. He signed for I think 4 or 5 more years. He's now into like they're only like what basically when Toronto signed Tanev today, they signed for 6 years, but the goal is 4 years. So like in Utah's case, I think you're looking at when Clayton Keller's contract ends. You're looking at potentially when Josh Stone and Dylan Guenther, their contracts are up, their ELCs. Eventually, like if you look at Montreal today, their GM spoke and he said, right now he doesn't want to stray off the path and he doesn't want to go get guys that he feels could move the needle and take them off course, which to me is kind of questionable because you had Marchessault, who a French Canadian obviously would want to go there. Like he would have been a difference maker. Utah did that. Maybe not a free agency, but Utah went off what Bill Armstrong was doing in Arizona and instantly started buying. So I think like their window to probably start competing for the playoffs may be next year. Like let's get through this 1 year. Like Draisaitl's available or Draisaitl's up potentially if he doesn't re-sign. Like he'd be a UFA. Not that Utah would make a push for him, but I mean if he wants $15 million and Utah has it, maybe Utah offers him 16 or 17 million and gets him. Like, you know what I mean? Like they have the cap space, they have the draft capital and they have the young talent to work those bigger contracts in. So I think potentially as far as playoffs, I think you're looking next year. I think Stanley Cup, you might be looking 2-3 years down the road until they get into a playoff. And I mean, once you're in the playoff, anything can happen.
What would have to happen for them to get in there this season? Like, is it certain? Is it the emergence of some of that their prospects? Is it just continuity that maybe they had last year? Like, what is a realistic path in your perspective to where they could make a run at the playoffs in their first year?
Well, I mean, I think defense obviously plays a big factor in it. If you look at Vegas, they have an extraordinary defense core. Like it's just crazy how many guys they have in their defensive core that can move the needle. Like, and then if you reflected on Utah, well, Arizona last year didn't have a good defensive core, so now they're progressing. They might be weak in maybe the bottom 3 with Valimaki, Cole, and Kesselring, but Sergachev, Jersey, and Marino all move the needle. And then you look at goalie. Well, Connor Ingram definitely overcame a lot of personal battles, and now he's a surefire. Like at one point he was leading the power rankings for the Vezina last year. Like this guy is, if he can put his mind to it, he can win you games. So then you just kind of look up front. You want Lawson Cross to produce. You want Nick Schmaltz to produce. You want Clayton Keller to produce. And then from there, it's just the emergence of the young guys, like you said, like Dylan Guenther. Like he's going to get a chance this year, obviously. Like he's going to probably get a full 82-game season unless he gets hurt. Josh Stone might be in that same situation. Logan Cooley's going to get a little bit better of a situation because he's already got the taste of the NHL. So all you got to do is basically find glue guys to gel and basically make this team one. Going back to other teams that happened at Pittsburgh when Sidney Crosby first won a Stanley Cup. I'm pretty sure they had Bill Guerin come in at like 41 years old or 40 years old and Marion Holtz, I believe, too. And they just glued the team together. So it might not be this year for, breakout seasons, but if they can target guys like that in free agency, Like one guy I thought about today that would have been good for them was Tyler Toffoli. He knows how to win. He knows what it takes. I mean, obviously he's going to do the same thing in San Jose, but if he would have went to Utah, he probably would have gelled really well with like a Cooley and a Doan or whomever. And yeah, it just takes a couple guys to get everyone rolling in as one unit.
Spencer Lazary. You can find him there. It looks. We're just getting to know all these different guys and all these different writers, and Spencer's been one of these guys. The Hockey News, where you can find his byline, and you can get the download on all the things that are going on in free agency, and also the draft, all that stuff. We're just learning all of this, Spencer, kind of all at once, and so we appreciate your patience with us, and we're excited about this. And we're going to keep calling you back to learn more about hockey and about this Utah Hockey Club.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
There you go, Spencer Lazary, everybody. Oh, man. Why do you have to be so impatient, Matt? I mean, I like it. 3 or 4 years down the line, possibility of making a run at the Stanley Cup. What about this year? It's like, all right, well, I don't know how far. Here's the thing. Hockey seems, to me, like it's so much more. I don't know how closely. I don't know what the parity's like in hockey, all right? But I will say that once the Stanley Cup playoffs fire up, you see how close these games are. You see how good that these series can become. And matchups do matter.
Yep.
So you have teams that are like, oh, boy. I like at the beginning of the Stanley Cup playoffs, I think we were looking and you're going, look, Dallas could make a run to the Stanley Cup final. But, man, that first-round matchup is tough for them. And it took them 7 games. And the idea of getting not just your team good enough to get to the playoffs. I think the idea is get to the playoffs and then, you know what, go game to game and just see if you can push a team to a 7-game series and do all you can to keep alive and stay going.
I think we can't put a value on the players that went through last year and how difficult that was, how much that took away from building something special because you had so much going on. I'm sure there's been a time in your life where it was hard to focus at work. That was every single person in that organization for a good chunk of the season. And now you fast forward, you're on stable ground. In fact, in a lot of ways, you've upgraded.
Well, no, for 1,000% they've upgraded. And it's interesting to hear how these guys find out a little bit more and more as they go along here, where they kind of go, I think that we're wanted here. Like
that they're wanted. They have a great ownership. They have a fan base that is starving for more professional sports. I mean, you were on the air when there was a possibility that the Oakland A's could be here for a couple of years. There was an appetite for that. This state wants professional sports. And I just think, I don't know if we can quantify how much of an impact that is going to have in a positive way. And it's not the same with Seattle. I know Seattle got brought up. That was an expansion team. There was not as much talent there right out of the gate as there is here.
But expansion drafts are made at the NHL level. It seems like expansion drafts, like it's almost like cheating a little bit because they want to get you going.
For sure.
It's sort of swung the direction of teams getting really, really good, really, really fast.
Yes, but not year 1.
Yeah.
Year 2.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things getting thrown together. This is unique. We don't see this very often, where a entire franchise is uprooted and put in another place this quickly, and because a lot of the time it is expansion. We do see teams move from time to time, but it's not that frequent. This is different, and there's a lot of continuity and a lot of good things that they can build upon from last year. So I know they drafted high, but there's a lot of interesting factors that go into that. Some of it is talent and developing talent, but I think maybe a lot more than people realize could be related to the distractions of what went down.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It's going to be fun to watch.
Pretty wild. Hey, every Monday, DJ and PK reveal what their Rocky Mountain Chevy Dealer Play of the Weekend was. They give it out during their show. That was this morning. If you know what that play was, you can be caller number 12 right now, and you can get yourself a gift card to Amazon for your troubles of naming it off, and courtesy of the folks from Rocky Mountain Chevy Dealers. DJ and PK gave the play of the weekend out. We're going to give caller number 12 the chance to win by telling us what that play is. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-9663. You tell us what that play is, and you can get yourself a little prize there. So an impressive lineup of cars, trucks, and SUVs. It's no wonder that people are switching to Chevy. Rocky Mountain Chevy Dealers. We're a Chevy family in my house. Any clues, Jeremy, that you feel prompted at all to give our listenership out there? It was a sport that happened this weekend. What are we gonna get this week?
It was something. It hasn't been done in about 30 to 40 years.
Okay.
So a pretty big deal.
Hasn't been done 30 or 40 years. I think I know what this is.
Then keep quiet.
Oh, then shut your mouth. But like sometimes if I'm not listening to, like if I don't know what it is, if I didn't hear it the morning of DJ and PK, then it's a little bit of a fun thing for me. So the clue actually helped me today. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-9663 to call in and get that win. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner. We've got tons of stuff to talk about. The NFL, we've neglected you over the last couple of days. All right, we've done NBA draft, NHL draft. We're talking all these other things. We're going to come back to you. NFL Blitz coming up next. Stay right here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Curie here. Matt Baiamonte filling in for the vacationing Jeremiah Jensen. I think vacationing Jeremiah Jensen means like him, I think he just takes a giant nap. It's like a hibernation situation.
I don't blame him.
Yeah. Hey, so what's up with the I went to Hilton Head, South Carolina a few weeks ago. Played some golf.
Vacation?
Yes.
Would you recommend? I'm looking into that for Christmas time. Would you go?
It's awesome.
Highly recommend.
Yeah. I can't remember if you're a golfer. You golf? Would you take clubs with you on a trip is what I'm asking you.
No.
Okay. Lots of good golf out there. Like, I'm not PK level golf, like, get it in my veins, but I have a kid who's really interested in it, and so we played golf out there, but the beach is phenomenal. East Coast beaches are phenomenal. And this is a kid who grew up going to West Coast beaches. I love the East Coast beaches.
Is there a such thing as a Washington State beach that you would enjoy going to?
No.
I didn't think so.
But even like California, think about the California beaches. Really sandy. The water's typically pretty cold. No such thing out east.
What about Galveston beaches, Alex?
Now, I have done some Gulf of Mexico beaches, not
Cancun.
the ones that you want to go to. No, not those. I'm saying when I was
this is bad.
my dad would take us during Thanksgiving. We lived in Texas. My dad was like,
oh boy,
because we didn't have family. We didn't have family
the beach
in
opposite
Texas.
of El Paso or something.
No, so we would go down to Galveston. And
I kind of think Galveston's cool. It's not?
No, it is. The beaches are bad. The beaches are like murky central. Now, the East Coast beaches are fun because the beaches are flat. Your kids would love them because it's diggy. You can dig in there, get all sorts of stuff. But you can ride bikes on them. You can't ride bikes on California beaches.
No.
And these are like rent a bike, and it's flat as far as the eye can see.
Ooh.
And it's hard sand, hard packed down sand. So when I visit my brother in Florida, you park on the beach. You park your car on the sand.
Wow.
Because it's that flat, it's that like packed down, and so I love the East Coast beaches. So I recommend it. But what I was going to say was, on the way down there, we were on the flight with the Savannah Bananas, the baseball team. And I have found you're going to go see them?
You got tickets for Smith's Ballpark.
When do they come into town?
You're way too late, man. End of July.
So way sold out.
Oh, beyond waiting list back year plus ago.
What? But I met those guys on a flight down on a Southwest flight down.
Light a bat on fire for you.
I should have got them going, man. I should have said, "Hey, my producer waited for a year in line for these tickets. I can listen. I'm gonna get some Savannah Banana tickets. It's gonna cost me though, isn't it?
If you got the way I did, $35 for everybody.
There's always a price to get anything.
So
Maybe I got an extra one. I'll let you know.
They're the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball, though, right?
Yes.
And it's like, oh, Smarts McGee, he's the best pitcher around. I mean, he doesn't make it in the league, but like, anyway, I'm just saying, like, you can watch a lot of Savannah Bananas on ESPN these days. There's not a slow time for us here, though, and even more so because we're talking NFL. That's what the music in the background, of course, means. NFL Blitz, brought to you by the official debit cards of the Utah Jazz, University of Utah Sports, and Real Salt Lake, exclusively at America First Credit Union. That's where you can find it. The official debit cards to the Utah Jazz, University of Utah Sports, and Real Salt Lake. America First Credit Union. All right, man. Zach Wilson did it. He finally...
This might be an overreaction.
I got a lot of... He got a haircut? Is that what it is? Well, bottom line is...
No, he actually hasn't gotten a haircut. He's been growing the hair out.
It's moppy?
Yeah,
it's very moppy?
It's moppy. It's slicked back.
Ooh.
It's a new look in Denver. But I like the move he just made.
He got engaged to someone his age, which I thought that was nice.
Oh, man.
What?
I'm not going to touch that.
This is my surprise face when I went and looked at the picture, and she was not...
Look, it would be hard to be single and to deal with the stuff that he dealt with in New York. With the media, you don't have a solid home life.
Is this the same gal?
Yeah.
He's
been dating her for a while.
A while back?
Yeah. But I think it's different when there's more commitment there. You can rely on them a little bit more. This makes me feel like I'm ready to say he will be named the starting quarterback of the Denver Broncos week 1. There's enough stability there now. There's some maturation.
All right.
I think he's going to win that job, whether or not he's successful or hangs on to it.
That's what Sean Payton's going to want to know. Well, look. Hey, I like the Wilson kid. He settled down and got engaged at the Amalfi Coast this summer. Put him in at starter. Matt, your blue goggles sometimes get way too in the way.
This has nothing to do with blue goggles. This has absolutely nothing to do with this association with BYU football. I had many a debate with my co-host Mitch Harper where he is the one defending Zach Wilson, and I'm the one saying overrated, didn't do as good. I like Jaron Hall more, all that type of stuff.
How do you think he's? Because you think that you think that Bo Nix is not going to be ready.
No, and I think that Jared Stidham is a bum.
Jared Stidham is okay, but people will say, "Oh, Zach Wilson's a bum. Jared Stidham's going to be the obvious veteran move here that you have."
I think Zach Wilson is going to get it. I think he's got the best arm of the three. That can't be debated.
Okay, can't.
The only thing that can be debated is his decision making and how it wasn't very good in New York. But he's got a competent offensive coach now, in Sean Payton. I think he's going to get the most out of the skills, and let's see what he can do. There's nothing to gain by playing Stidham. Stidham has been in the league longer, and he is who he is. Zach Wilson, there's still an allure of there's that physical ability. Can someone tap into that and get the best out of him? Maybe it's Sean Payton. Why not? And now you got a stable home life. The bachelor days are over.
Oh, yeah. So stable. That's what I've thought about. That's what I've always thought about professional quarterbacks getting married. What a stable home situation.
There's not a lot of single wild quarterbacks that are
Have you ever heard of Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Single and wild.
Yep. And how much success has there been in the last little bit, huh?
Oh, okay. So, hold on. Let me write this down.
Yes, write it down.
If Aaron Rodgers would have been settled down a little bit, maybe after that 08-09 season.
I believe in 2020, a married Aaron Rodgers would have beaten Tom Brady in the playoffs.
So which girl do you suggest that he should have married? Was it Danica Patrick?
He should have married the Hollywood star. What's
Olivia
her name?
Munn.
No, it's not Olivia Munn. I do like Olivia Munn. It was the younger one that was in the Divergent series. What is her name? What is her name? I pride myself on pop culture and
pride
knowing
myself on that.
Movie stars and media personalities. Shailene Woodley, I think.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, that was good, yeah. No, that was a good situation for him. Yeah, but listen, I
They
think
took
everybody,
that Hawaii trip together.
everybody at some point figures out that there's a little bit of loco in Aaron Rodgers. Olivia Munn was one for sure.
So was Shailene Woodley, I think. Is that her name? Shaylee or Shailene?
They're also engaged as well.
They
You're
were,
right,
they were
you're right.
engaged.
So close.
You know where they got engaged? Hawaii, Amalfi Coast.
See,
I mean,
he didn't
it's
do it right.
Italy.
If he
No.
had done what Zach
You
did
gotta-
and went to
you gotta go to Italy.
another country,
You want to come to Peru with me and smoke some shrooms and get engaged? She's all sure. Yeah.
so
why not?
you give Zach no shot of being the starting quarterback for Denver.
It's not that I give him no shot. I don't know. I think but the
You
thing
would
is,
take Jared Stidham
what
over
is
Zach
he?
Wilson.
So what was Bo Nix? Number 12 overall, 12th overall
Bo
pick.
Nix is the future. There's no doubt about it.
But see, in the NFL, the unfortunate thing is if you are a top 15 draft pick, the likelihood of you being asked to do a lot more than you're probably ready for is pretty high.
For sure.
So
But
I think it
they're
would be
not in
smart.
that situation.
So does Zach Wilson get the start because they know that the best quarterback of the three is probably Bo Nix, but they
There's
need him
also
to
a lot of
grow up behind Zach Wilson? How
Hey,
weird does that
there's
sound,
a lot
first of all?
indications, though, in the league where
we need
if
him to
you were
get
asked
mature.
to do too much too soon, it could go south.
Yeah, we need him to get mature behind Zach Wilson. That veteran leadership. Come on.
I never
I
said
know.
anything about maturity and veteran leadership. I just said I like that his personal life is calming down, and I think that will help translate onto the field.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Next time I'm on, I'll be sure to, if he gets named the week one starter, I'll
Hey.
be sure to take a victory lap over
I
you, Jeremy,
hope-
and you,
Okay, I hope that
and
you're
everyone
right.
else.
I hope that you're right. I hope everything works out. I'm just saying, I really hope that it works out. I want Zach Wilson to be playing. You know why? It makes our lives even more fun.
Yeah.
If Zach Wilson's starting ball games for the Denver Broncos, one, I'll be able to see him on TV more often because
We
CBS
should ask
is in
Sam
love with those
sometime, but
guys.
I just feel like the market upgrade it can't be it's not quantifiable.
You mean okay? So JJ's massive Broncos fan. Okay, he grew up a massive Broncos
But
fan.
Sam worked in the market longer.
No, he did. But I will tell you that the biggest thing that everyone is like giving the big sigh of relief on for Zach is to go, look, the Broncos are, a needy organization. Like they want a lot of attention. They want to do well. They want to be good, but they also are not the New York Jets in the sense that they're a little bit more. Mommy and Daddy love each other still, is what I'm saying. The Jets are growing up in a raucous household. All right. They are barely getting any attention from mom or dad. So what do? They act out.
Yep.
They get weird. All right. So there you go. Next up on the old, I'm just saying, good for him. Good for him. He got engaged.
I was saying good for him. You
Fill the
were
blank.
making fun
No.
of.
I wasn't. No, listen. I'm not making fun of the getting engaged part. I'm making fun of your dumb take that he's going to be the starting quarterback. Make no mistake. I'm glad he's getting engaged. Quite a looker. He got engaged to, too. Tyreek Hill says he's glad wide receivers are finally getting paid and hope he fits in down the road with.
What a ridiculous comment. You thought my take on Zach was ridiculous. Finally getting paid? Have we up and watching receiver after receiver get paid?
Well, Tyreek
for,
in particular, too.
Tyreek kind of started it.
Yes.
And then since then, Justin Jefferson paid. I know I'm missing some others off the top of my head.
Well, I'm trying
DK
to think.
Metcalf got paid.
Did Waddle get paid too? They're in
Waddle
Miami.
got paid.
Yeah, so they got a lot of guys on the books for the Dolphins, man.
The only people who haven't gotten paid are the Chiefs wide
All
receivers.
right. Do you want to know what the really important personal trip was for Aaron Rodgers? By the way,
What was it?
remember he missed minicamp or he missed the OTAs because there was
course
something
he
that
did.
the team did not sign off on, but it was very important to him. He said he's missing it for an event that was important to him. They wanted to make sure. Pre-planned trip to Egypt.
Good for him. You can't give the keys to someone and then take them away a year later and expect it to be different. That is on the Jets. That's not on Aaron Rodgers at all.
So you're saying you're okay with him missing mandatory minicamp for Egypt?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
And I'm also, they should be okay with it because they're okay with having a subpar offensive coordinator because Aaron Rodgers wants it.
Yes.
So Aaron Rodgers wants what he gets.
I agree.
In New York.
All right.
And it's too late to push back.
I
I like Aaron Rodgers, by the way.
I do too.
I think he'll have a good bounce back
No,
year.
I meant
would
I like
draft
him
in
as
fantasy.
I like him as a football player.
Yes, definitely. But
Kind of a goofy dude, right?
he doesn't care about OTAs. He's made that clear for years.
All right. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go right around the corner. So stay right here. 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, yes. Welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Keary. Matt Baiamonte sitting in for Jeremiah, who is getting some much-deserved time off. Doesn't get a lot of time off. I don't know if you know that about JJ, Matt.
Yeah, his schedule is pretty crazy. Yeah.
So I'm glad.
Radio,
he's-
TV doesn't combo.
How about both? All the time. We're going to do that. All right. So, best and worst. You know how it goes. We'll throw out a couple things. So, the best, obviously, of the day. I feel like we're able to talk about it some today, but we have so many things going on, moving parts with the NBA free agency stuff and with the hockey availability with some of these guys today up in Park City. Then we were able to talk about it, but I think we need to still honor the fact that Utah is actually in a perfect situation with the idea that Morgan Scalley would come in and be their head coach for long term after Kyle Whittingham. He's just Kyle Whittingham Jr. So if you're wondering what you're going to get in terms of what going forward, consistency in these programs, what is it that everybody loves about Utah? And what I'm assuming they're trying to capture in a bottle again with Morgan Scalley, he knows exactly what the past and the present and what they have for a vision of the future for Utah football is. He wants to be here forever. He's a Salt Lake City guy. He's a Highland grad, obviously played at Utah, and frankly is like the nicest guy on the planet when you talk with him one-on-one. Much deserved. I'm glad that it's going to end up being him. You just wonder if it's going to end up being Kyle Whittingham leaving, feeling more comfortable to leave. He's going to be didn't they sign him up? He's going to be a consultant for $1 million a year, like until
Whenever.
So he can be an emeritus member of the football the football department forever, I guess, whatever.
It makes sense. I would argue the worst part of it, though, is there's not a great history in sports of naming the coach in waiting and have it being a great transition that maintains excellence. Like you think about Syracuse. How hard was it for Jim Boeheim to leave on the basketball side of things? And now that program has never recaptured what Boeheim built at Syracuse. I know it's not apples to oranges with football and basketball, but there's just not a great track record. And then the other thing, too, is I love the element of you reward the loyalty. He's had opportunities to go be coordinators elsewhere. He has stuck around. He's a young coach. There's a lot of upside there. But at the same time, who becomes available whenever Coach Whittingham is gone? And so, like, you look at Alabama, had they named somebody, Tommy Rees, the coach in waiting, then they don't get Kalen DeBoer, who is an ascending coach that came out of Washington.
We'll see if he's got it. I don't know. You know, I mean, I think that because, and I mentioned this earlier, like it's like the worst kept secret.
For
right?
sure. We've known this for years.
But aside from that, like I think a couple years ago, I was doing the golf tournament that he does is like one of the charity things. He and Kalani do a thing. And, you know, the lady who was speaking at the event, one of the people said, hey, you know, and all the great history of the coaches who've done these tournaments and all the way, and hopefully in the future, whoever the coaches are, and Whit, I remember, was up at the front of the room, and we're all standing up there with him, and he just keeps pointing at Morgan, and you're kind of like, all right, like we know who his pick is, and you know because of the history that he has with the school, he was going to be able to make those, you know, pull those strings and make it happen. It's not undeserved.
No,
and you think about
it's
a guy,
deserved.
Who do you hire? You hire really, really good, and especially at Utah, defensive coordinators, like who have a history of having just insane work ethics, a culture that they will not compromise on, and that's been the key to a lot of the success. There might be a little bit of that argument that could sneak in behind everything that goes,
we'll see.
Will there ever be a good offense at this school with just defender after defender after defender? I'm saying like a long-lasting offensive. Don't at me, Utah fans, by saying I get it. I know they've had good offenses in the past. I know. I'm just saying that's the thing that everybody looks at, and the conservative nature, sticking to Witt saying run the football, run the football, run the football.
No turnovers.
When they have all these quarterbacks and wide receivers, and you wonder if they're going to use them. All right, worst is Team USA, who is going to be kicking off tonight in just a little while. And their run in the Copa America is likely over, and it's an embarrassing one. You lose to Panama after beating Bolivia. You lose to Panama. They're likely going to lose to, or maybe even just draw with Uruguay tonight. Uruguay, one of the stronger teams in the tournament overall. I want to fall in love with Team USA basketball. Soccer.
It's easy to fall in love with the basketball.
Yes, and we're hoping that one day they become that. But you can't do it when your teams flop on your home soil against lesser opponents, and you can't get it done, and then the immaturity of the team, all those things kind of come forward.
Yeah, it's frustrating because I think there is an appetite for this country to rally behind this team and to get involved in soccer in a big way, but they just cannot put it together consistently to build a team that you feel like could legitimately do something in a World Cup situation. You just don't feel that way, that there's no chance, and that's frustrating.
Hopefully they get it done. I would love to see them win because I think Uruguay is already going to be in too, but let's cross our fingers. All right. We'll take the break. We have more to go right around the corner this hour. Stay with us. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.